With the Clan War Leagues upon us, let's simplify how to use Super Witches at Town Hall 12 to 3-star every base during the Clan War Leagues. What's going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt. We have for you 4 of the best Super Witch attacks that you can use during the Clan War Leagues to 3-star every base. Let's get started with the Super Witch Smash. Very similar to any other smash attack, you are going to be using the lightning spells to create a small yet good enough funnel for your Queen Walk or Warden Walk. This is going to be at least on the Inferno and other structures. However, be very careful if there are mostly storages or if there's only 2 actual buildings that you can use the lightning spells on, because it's practically worthless using 5 lightning or even 4 lightning in 1 earthquake when you can only get rid of 1 to 2 buildings. It's not a lot, so you want to be able to make sure that you are easily getting through that. Now, along with this, you are using a Warden Walk to start off this attack. For those of you who don't know what a Warden Walk is, it is using the Grand Warden with healers. Normally, this is only used because typically he has a longer reach. That makes it a little bit better. Now, you will be using the lightning spells at this point, being able to use them in order to get rid of the Inferno along with some other defenses in order to create a little bit more of a funnel. Now, at this point, you can just let your Queen Walk or Warden Walk go. Now, be very careful about using the Queen, though, because unlike the Warden where you can easily lure him over with the Queen herself or Super Witches, the Queen needs to be actively funneled. So that does mean that you will need to use baby dragons or anything else that you can to create the funnel, like balloons, Yetis, and wizards, in order to create the funnel for the Queen if you are using a Queen Walk instead of a Warden Walk. So that way you can easily continue to move through. Now, once you have a solid area of the base already cut thanks to the Warden Walk, you can start creating the other side of the funnel by using a Super Witch and also using the King and Siege Barrack on this side. That way, you can lure your Warden over and move everything, specifically the Super Witches, the healers, and the heroes, the rest of them at least, into the base. Now, this is where this attack truly shines. You want to start moving your way into the Town Hall. That should be your first thing to get rid of, and that way you're able to easily move through the rest of it by using the jump spells. Now, on a base like this, you don't need a poison spell. You're able to easily move all the way across the base since he's using the jump spells to easily do that. Now, along with this, be very careful if there are things like a enemy queen that's going to lure some of your heroes and some of your Super Witches. You do not want that to happen. You want the healers to stay with the Super Witches, but you also want the Super Witches to stay with the heroes. That way they can get the most from all of their sort of abilities and everything else. That way you can still easily move through with the support of the heroes. It just makes it a little bit more simple. Now, unlike any other troop, the Super Witches do a lot. They can hit over walls, unlike the P.E.K.K.A, and they're tanky enough to take a couple shots. Now, if you're seeing a lot of single Infernos, I have a better attack that you may want to try out a little bit later on. But being able to use the Super Witches is a very strong option. You even have Hog Riders from the Siege Barrack if you plan on using it. But the main goal of this is to use the Super Witches to get from one side of the base to the other. That's why he's using 2 jump spells. But along with that, he's trying to go in for the Eagle Artillery here. Getting rid of the Eagle should be one of your main priorities, and being able to do so allows everything else to move through. Even the Super Witch that is on the outside is able to continue keeping most of the Super Witches in the base. You also want to make sure that you have the healers transferring from your heroes, whether this be the Queen or the Grand Warden, onto your Super Witches, just to make it a little bit easier for everything else to move through. And that's really how simple Super Witches are. At this point, the base design is crushed. You don't even need to worry all too much. He still has all 5 Super Witches still up, and that really goes to show how strong this attack is. Now you may also want to try something known as a Super Witch Slap. This is using the Super Witches on either side of the base and then having your heroes and bowlers get all the way across. This is really where 2 to 3 jump spells are going to be used in order to get all the way across the base towards the town hall. You can still go right the way into the town hall, but it usually depends on how much spell value from your jump spells you're going to be able to get. And you want to get the eagle down as quickly as you can. So that is a plus to get rid of early on. So you're going to start this attack off by using the Super Witches on either side. Like in this example, using the Super Witches on one side of the base, creating a nice sort of funnel, and also having the big boys and the Super Witches, and the same thing on the other side. That way you're able to create a nice and solid funnel for the heroes to move in. Now you can bring a P.E.K.K.A. to establish a little bit more of a funnel, but you can also use it to start moving through with the Siege Barrack P.E.K.K.A. That way you have 2 P.E.K.K.A.s, and then you also have the bowlers moving in right behind your heroes. And you want to use the rage spells for the bowlers, the heroes, the P.E.K.K.A.s. That way you can easily move across the base. You want to make it simple, so that way you're able to get all the way across. Now, unlike a traditional Super Witch attack, you will be using the poison spell on the enemy CC. So while you're working your way through, you've pretty much got a nice solid path here from the base, and you've got everything kind of working in the core while the Super Witches work on the flanks. That is pretty much it. And you may have noticed already, this area is a prime example of what I was talking about earlier in terms of the lightning spells, not being able to use them on bases like that. And that way what you're able to still do is move across the base. You can save your Warden ability for your heroes, bowlers, and also for any other troops that you have in the core to get rid of the enemy town hall with no problem. That way, you can still work with either your Hog Riders from the Siege Barrack or with the Super Witches and the Big Boys. Even if you lose just one, you can still have a ton of support from the Big Boys, the 2 healers on that Super Witch, so that way you're able to easily continue to work your way all the way through the base without having to worry all too much. And this is the reason to why this attack is so unbelievably powerful. Being able to use everything in your arsenal, the Super Witches, the healers, and of course the heroes to move through the core is exactly what you would want. Even if your Warden dies or the rest of your heroes, you will be able to easily get through with the use of the Super Witches. That is just how good Super Witches are. Now, if you're seeing a lot of single target Infernos, bat spells are the best choice to take them on. Introducing the Super Bat Slap. This is a very simple way of getting through single Infernos with still using Super Witches. So you're going to start off with a Warden Walk, and this is going to be used in order to create a small funnel. You can also use a Queen Walk like I mentioned, but all you're going to be doing is creating a funnel, getting rid of some other defenses like maybe a Wizard Tower in this case, in order to make sure that you are able to cut one side off. You're then going to use a Super Witch on the other side. That way what you're able to then do is cut off this side of the base as well. You want to make it simple for the rest of your Super Witches to move across the base. Now keep in mind, what are you looking for in a bat spell attack? It's going to be any and all splash. In this case, the 3 multi-infernos will need to be sort of kept in mind, but the Eagle Artillery, Infernos, the Wizard Towers, and of course the Town Hall. So you want to be able to get all the way across the base. Now, in this example, this base may not look completely good for this, but it is actually a really good one. Super Witches are just so strong that they really don't need the bats themselves. You don't even need that, but you will be able to still move through. So you want to be able to use the Super Witches along with the heroes, mainly the Queen and the Warden, to move across. You may have noticed the use of these balloons. That is to soak up seeking air mines. You want to be able to soak them up to protect the healers. That way, you can use the King on one side to create the funnel, and you've got a nice area of the base to move in with the use of the log launcher. The log launcher will be able to open up the base going through, and it will open up the base for Yetis in the CC. That way you're able to get them through with the rage spell. You may also want to use the Warden Eternal Tome to protect your queen, super witches, and the log launcher for long enough. That way you can have the log launcher take some of the damage and also to still do damage to other defenses, mainly the town hall. And that way you can get all the way across without having to worry all too much while still having the Yetis underneath the rage. Now, once you've gotten rid of the town hall, you want to take a look at how much splash you have been able to get rid of. All that is left up in terms of the splash buildings are these defenses. So the attacker here can take advantage of that by starting with a bat wave. This is going to be using the bats towards the outside. This way what you're able to do is accumulate bats over time, and you're able to work them this direction. So using them on point defenses is exactly what I would try to keep in mind, but then you could also use the free spells on the wizard towers and multi-infernos. Sometimes they may already be tanked for already, so you may want to go ahead and do so, but using this attack, you can even swag spells like the attacker did here, but that is exactly why, if you want to use this versus singles, this is the best choice to get through. Now, last but not least, we have the Zap Super Witches. You're using 7 lightning spells to take care of an eagle artillery, but along with that, you can use the battle blimp to take care of the town hall. Usually you're going to start this off by using a couple balloons to soak up some seeking air mines to make it a little bit easier for your attack. That way, you can then use a rage spell and the Yetis themselves to easily get through. So that way, it goes down like it's almost nothing underneath the rage, and then you could also deploy your 7 lightning spells right on top of the eagle artillery. You want to be able to get rid of as many structures around there, and that way what you're able to do is knock off two of your biggest threats out. They're gone. So, at this point, you've got a Yeti or something else to create the funnel here. You're going to create the funnel on the other side with the king, a Yeti, or really anything there, mainly the king and maybe a super witch. And that way, you have easy, predictable pathing to start working your way right into here without having to worry about the town hall anymore. So that is an option that you guys may want to try out using. So being able to have the super witches and also using a super wall breaker if you would like to open up much more of the base. And in this case here, he's going to get a split, but he wants to mainly keep the Warden with at least one group. You don't want the Warden to go off with the Queen and a couple others on an area that you already got rid of. So you want to be able to easily get across, and using the lightning spells against the Eagle allow you to not worry about this area, and you could just worry about going into something like this multi-inferno, just to make your life a whole lot easier. Now sometimes though, your healers may switch onto a different group, which is completely fine. 5 super witches are more than enough to smash through an entire base, and you want to take advantage of it. That way, you can easily use the jump spell in order to get all the way across to something like a multi-inferno. Remember that a multi-inferno does constant damage, making it a very, very difficult thing to ignore. So you want to be able to get through with it without having to worry all too much. And it just makes it far easier if you guys are planning on using the super witches. And these 4 super witch attacks are very powerful, and yet they give you that sense of choosing whichever is right on a particular base based upon what these attackers did on these type of bases to crush them. Remember guys to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell for more educational yet fun Clash of Clans content here, and make sure you use code CORRUPT if you plan on purchasing the gold pass or anything in the shop, and I'll be catching you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.